Thank you for coming along to another Spread the Love series live. I've got Jay here with me.
Hello.
Who is my boyfriend, so we are living together, so it's all fine. And a guitarist and all of that jazz. So, tell the people who you are.
Well, thank you for having me, Chad. It's a really nice studio you've got set up here. I really like it. So my name's Jay. I like playing my guitar. I like recording music. I've got some songs out, and I think we're going to talk a little bit about some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about some other stuff, and
yeah. I mean, it's kind of. I wanted to dig a little bit deeper because I obviously know a lot about your music, and I think people on my feed will probably have heard of you before, just because we share each other's music a lot because we work together a lot.
True.
But if people don't know what kind of music you make, how would you describe it to them?
I would say that I make music that's kind of built around kind of rocky bass. It's kind of quite rock oriented, very guitar-y. I kind of like just trying out lots of different weird sounds and just weird stuff. But it's kind of a sort of rustic, rocky, weird, kind of lots of different influences, but
I think
the particular time period of influences, I would say.
Yes, definitely. It's definitely 70s rock, isn't it?
Well, I would say that it's predominantly inspired by a lot of 70s rock, yeah.
Who's the OGs of it? Who I think it would be good to kind of get an idea of like who have influenced you the most. You would say.
Yeah, well, it's been an evolving thing, but kind of I think my parents had a pretty big influence on the sort of music I was listening to when I was younger, just because I was at home and when they were listening to music, I was ending up listening to whatever they were listening to. So, I guess like the first band I was like properly into was Black Sabbath, and I would say they're still like, if I could only have one band, I couldn't take anyone else really.
Yeah.
And that's kind of that's where it started. Like that's where I'd kind of been inspired by a teacher at my primary school called Mr. Brown, who always used to play guitar for us in assembly, and I thought he was like, his guitar playing was awesome, and he made me want to play the guitar. But like when I really identified what I wanted to play on the guitar, it's probably when I started listening to Sabbath, and also I sort of a bit of Hawkwind creeping in, and some Led Zeppelin and that sort of thing started to kind of gradually creep in. Bands like Budgie and kind of sort of a bit of heavy rock, 70s rock, classic rock kind of stuff. And then I kind of, in recent years, I've sort of listened to I've listened to a lot of stuff, but I think the stuff that's sort of started to creep in a bit more in the more recent years is some kind of slightly more mellow stuff like America, Creedence Clearwater Revival, and recently I've been listening to a lot more Pink Floyd, because I was kind of a bit prejudiced against Pink Floyd for a long time.
I think everyone is a little bit.
And I still don't, I don't like all the Pink Floyd stuff, but I particularly like a lot of their earlier stuff. Lots of different things, but I guess there is a kind of common theme of, I guess if you took most stuff from between like, I don't know, 1960 and 1980, you'd probably get a lot of stuff, most of the stuff I like.
And that's like the majority of our record collection as well.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which is the only Sabbath one we haven't got. Which is that one?
Well, no, I mean there's a lot of Sabbath we haven't got. There's a lot of intermediate Sabbath.
Of course.
I think we've got almost all the Aussie era Sabbath. But there's lots of non-Aussie Sabbath, some of which I've explored, particularly some of the Dio stuff, some of which is really good as well. But there's a lot that I haven't, to be fair. And considering I love Tony Iommi, I'm sure there's plenty of cool riffs out there I've not heard yet. So
cool. So that gives a bit of like a bit of a insight into the background of your music.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Kind of the base of it, but with the singles that you've released last year and this year, what would you say that? I guess if you wanted to kind of go through them and kind of give a bit of a story behind them, or like what you wanted to achieve with them, because they're all a little bit different. Some of them, I'd say like Orange Men is a lot more mellow compared to the other ones. So.
Yeah, it's and I think that's something I'm trying to reconnect with a little bit, but we'll get onto that later. Yeah, so Orange Man was the first one that came out, but that wasn't the first one that I was recording. I recorded quite a lot of So Much Remains before I recorded any of Little Orange Men, but I was kind of having a creative crisis with So Much Remains. And also I think I was learning a lot. It was the first song I tried to record in the studio, and as I was recording it, I was, changing my mind about things. But yeah, so Much Remains was probably, I wrote a lot of songs before that, some of which are on my SoundCloud, some of which no one's ever heard other than me, and I think that's what I started doing. The first things I was doing, I was just recording just instrumental kind of meandering, just seeing what chords sounded nice and learning how to play the bass a little bit, learning how to maybe just, touch a couple of keys on the keyboard that sounded nice and that sort of thing, and then started writing it a little bit more, but, I never particularly thought of myself as a particularly brilliant singer, so, I was always very reluctant to do that, very embarrassed about actually recording myself singing on anything, and then, eventually it just got to the point where it's like, well, if I want to, do this, if I want to, kind of get a message across, then I think that using my voice is something that would be invaluable if I could do it reasonably well. And
exactly.
I don't claim to be a singer, but I try to get by, and I'm trying to get better.
It's definitely I remember the stuff that you would play me 3 years ago is so different to what you do now.
Yeah,
you can definitely tell, especially in your voice, the advancement in it. I think that's just confidence, really.
Probably, yeah. I think we said that I was telling this to you the other day. It's like when I'm playing the guitar, I know what noise it's going to make when I pluck that string. Whereas sometimes with that, it's not quite the same. But practice. So then I sort of started writing songs a bit more, and then I wrote a song. I wrote some lyrics about my granddad, and that kind of became So Much Remains, and I kind of had a sort of loose kind of idea for that for ages, and then it started to kind of grow to being 7 minutes long. And so that I was kind of recording that, and that was, as I said, a learning experience. It was the first time I've been to the studio and recorded anything. Benny Turner, Drip Dry Studios, Peterborough, plug. Yeah. If you want someone local who's a sound guy to help you record something, he's a go-to. So yeah, he was really good at kind of helping me learn what recording in the studio is all about and the best ways of doing things, and finding the sounds I wanted to find, which was probably the hardest thing. Was I had this sound in my head and finding it. And with that one, I have to admit, I think I'd never really quite found it, but at one point it was quite far away from where I wanted it to be, and I was getting kind of a bit frustrated with it. And so I was just, took a bit of time away from it and ended up writing Little Orange Men, which has got a kind of weird backstory as well, because it's called Little Orange Men because when I first started writing it, basically me and my mates built a sort of shelter in the woods, and one day I was out walking and I saw some of the quarry workers destroying it and dismantling it, and they were wearing their full orange overalls, and I was like, you bastards. So I started writing a song about people kind of wrecking stuff, and that kind of broadened to the sort of theme of what we're doing to this planet. So kind of a very non-serious idea kind of developed into something that I would say I'm fairly passionate about, as I would hope that most people would be. So that song kind of became about what we are doing here on Earth and what I would be afraid we would do to if we start leapfrogging to all the other floating rocks up there, and whether we'll have the restraint to not ruin them like we're ruining this one. But yeah, we'll see, hopefully. So that's kind of what that song was about, and that one just I don't know what it was about it, but it just kind of came out so easily, and we recorded the whole thing in one day. I think I went back and re-recorded the vocals another day, but I think all the music on that pretty much was recorded. There might be one other take on the guitar solo as well, to be fair, but other than that, it was pretty much all recorded in a day. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to strip things back a little bit, so it was just like
really
acoustic
nice.
guitar, playing my dad's fish skin Egyptian hand drum.
Of course.
You know, some bass and a bit of slides and reverby slides, and you know, it kind of just slotted together really nicely.
It's nice when that happens, when it's kind of because
I didn't have to try hard at all to
Yeah.
make it sound how I wanted it to.
Exactly. Like songs are so individual that some you'll be working on for months, and then some just come out in 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And would you say that they're normally the ones that kind of work better, or they're just kind of the experience is better just because it's a bit more natural and easy?
I tend to find like with me, I find the more I enjoy it, the better it tends to be. Usually, things become difficult when I know it's not quite how I want it to be, and I often can't get past that. It makes it quite difficult. So you end up spending loads of time trying to figure out what's wrong with it, and when it works, it's just like, okay, this is cool. But you know, there's nothing wrong with working at it. So.
No.
And then so then I released both of them kind of this time last year. Just before, I think Little Orange Man was in January, and I think that So Much Remains was in April, and then probably coming into lockdown, sort of first lockdown, I started coming up with ideas for Roger That. And there's a lot less lyrics in that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot shorter than the other two. By design. It just, that's how long it was, whereas the other two, that's just how long they were. So, but this one, it kind of was, I think a lot of the feeling of what I was feeling when I wrote it is in the sound of it. And it does come into the lyrics as well, but I think the sound has got a lot of the kind of frustration and dismay that I was kind of feeling as I was looking around at all the weird stuff that was happening in the world, and the way people have been treating each other, and the way we treat all the not people creatures on this earth. So it was a lot of that. It was a lot of different frustrations kind of boiled into trying to put that into a musical song, like just to say like, okay, this is what I'm kind of finding difficult, this is what I'm struggling to decide what's right about, and but what I thought I was trying to say was that I think just if everyone kind of takes a bit of time to look at what's happening, you start to realise what things are wrong.
It's nice. It's a nice feeling being able to kind of express yourself through sound and music, and kind of it's almost somehow kind of easier than explaining it in words some way, because it translates to everyone and everything. So
exactly. It was I wanted it to be quite non-specific, because when everyone's different, and some people are going to look around and they're going to see different problems, and that, but that's okay. That's kind of just what I wanted to say was, look around and figure out what's up, and then do something about it.
Is that what you would say, like, that you make music for, is to kind of spread a message, or is it is it quite personal and it's kind of a cathartic thing for you?
It's not. I'm definitely not trying to spread a message. I think what I'd like to do is, I'm not spreading a message, but what I would like to do is just make people think about things. And also, I'm just mainly doing it. That's a kind of side effect of why I'm just doing it because I find it fun. So I like recording stuff, and it's nice when people say, "Oh, I listened to your song and I really liked it."
Yeah.
That's nice, and I like the process of kind of trying to create this ultimately refined sort of sound capsule and putting it out and seeing what that does inside people's heads. I find that quite interesting. But really, I just like doing it. I find it fun. I like writing music, and I like the process of trying to capture that music in the best way I can, and the most highest quality version of what is in here that other people can hear. And it's kind of very satisfying to try and translate, like you were saying, translate a message or a feeling into something that you might not be able to explain, but that anybody could appreciate when they just heard it. You know, you're getting a message across without actually having to say anything some of the time. So.
Yeah, it's a nice feeling. And it's kind of, it gives you, it shows a different side of you as well. It kind of has your identity in music, because you know, you spend so much time and effort making something that you kind of are doing because you find it fun and for you, but it's kind of, it's nice when people appreciate the amount of like time and effort that you put into something, and it comes across as something that people would actually want to listen to as well.
Yeah, well, I you know, the way I judge whether I'm, you know, I've got to like it. I'm not overly concerned about what anybody else thinks of it, to be honest. I like it when other people like it.
Yeah.
That's satisfying. But ultimately, like, I just want to like it. You know, I just want to be proud of what I've done and to be satisfied with it and to have enjoyed the process and to have, it's a lot of different things to it, but yeah.
Yeah. So which one would you say is, or maybe it's not even one that you've released, but which kind of track would you say that was the most rewarding, that you're most proud of, you know, the one that you enjoyed the process of most?
Probably Little Orange Man, yeah, because I think ultimately maybe it's the fact that for me it was like the first one, and I was so happy it was the first one when I'd done it. I was like, I feel like this I think it nicely captured captured a little bit of me and a little bit of the music I like and a little bit of the stuff from my own kind of perspective. I think that one's definitely my favourite.
I think that's my favourite as well.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like I still have a kind of weird relationship with So Much Remains, because I love the song, but you know, I have problems with the recording, but you know, maybe one day there'll be a 2040 remaster or something. But yeah, that one, and then, you know, Roger That I really, really, really enjoyed doing, and particularly doing the video for that was really satisfying. And
but cold.
yeah, and the way that people have responded to that one's been good. I think it's a little bit more accessible, being only 3.5 minutes long. But yeah, I think that Orange Man's probably my favourite.
Yeah, I like that one, and it's nice to have quite, you know, 3 singles to have out. It's a good discography to have out. But have you got things that you want to get out, things that you're working on at the moment?
Yeah, well, I've got ideas I'm working on. I think the difficulty I've been having recently is I've got some good ideas, but I'm struggling to manifest them quite how I'd like to. But I'm working on pieces of those ideas that are of a sort of non-musical nature as well in the meantime, because you know, I've been finding myself a little bit with my own music a little bit slightly a little bit creatively sort of confused for a little while now, and I've just been trying to give it a bit of time to kind of just figure it out and sort of rediscover the sound I want. And I think it is probably closer to Little Orange Man. So that's kind of what I've been working on, trying to just get back to a sound I want and doing lots of experiments with arrangements and ideas, and I've got things I'm working on. And then, like I said, non-musically, but for the music, I've been kind of working on a little interview experiment with a few people, trying to get some interesting sort of perspectives from people that I care a lot about, whose opinions I value very highly. And I feel like I just want to try and capture a little bit of their knowledge and wisdom, or even some of their not wisdom as it may be, but a little piece of some people that I care about, which might end up kind of playing into some recordings at some point.
That'd be cool. So
yeah, it's coming along slow in terms of like the stuff that I'm doing for me, but that's okay. I'm not trying not to rush it, because
it comes and goes.
I'm not in a hurry, so yeah, like I said, I'll when it comes, it'll be good, I hope.
And it's also, you know, it's not like you're not doing any music when you're not focusing on your solo project, because you do a lot of music for me as well, and it's kind of, I think I think it's kind of a nice mix to have, because my music is very different to your music, and it's because I sing on your songs and you play on my songs, and it's nice to have a bit of a difference for both of us to just keep each other on our toes, and kind of it makes your creativity spark a little bit more when you are faced with a song that you want some vocals on, but I wouldn't have written this song, but it's nice.
Yeah, it's I find that like being presented with music to contribute to, which is not music that I've created, is good for kind of generating different ideas in me. Because I think that one thing I do find in that I do most of the music of what I do on my own, is that sometimes you can get a little bit lost in your own stuff. You can get a little bit lost in the way you play and in the sounds you like, and sometimes it's a little bit like, God, I just need to get away from that and find something new, and it's helpful having a different kind of project to work on, because most of the stuff that I do with you is just kind of adding something to a sort of existing project, or working on arrangement ideas and just sort of thinking about things like that, but for music that is like I said, different to what I do. So very refreshing. It's helpful, and I enjoy it a lot. It takes my mind off.
Good.
Even if I'm not creating something if I'm not doing my own thing, it's satisfying to still be being creative.
Yeah.
So
cool. I have a question on here.
Ooh.
I wonder who it is. Jack. Beatles or Stones?
Interesting. Yeah.
We're going to fight about this, aren't we?
Well, basically, it's just one of those. Both of those bands are just fields of my musical experience that have yet to be filled, because I've really not explored a great deal of the Beatles. I'm sure plenty of people. He's saying he likes 70s rock, but he doesn't like it's like 60s and 70s rock, but he doesn't like the Beatles and he doesn't like the Rolling Stones. Well, no, I mean, it's not I don't like the Rolling Stones or the Beatles, I just haven't listened to them that much, and I think I should. I definitely should. And I have been meaning to, and it's quite exciting to have big fat discographies of very well reputed bands to dive into, because I will, but yeah, I just need to. I haven't yet. Yeah, but no, that's good. That's a good question. Yeah.
Undecided.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, maybe I'll have a verdict in a bit.
We'll come back to you on that one. So lots of 70s rock that I think most people would agree is like just obviously great music. But is there any kind of guilty pleasures in there that kind of contradicts the love for that kind of music?
Yeah, I guess there's some stuff that people might not think that I would like. I think I've got a bit of a weakness for 80s kind of, particularly 80s kind of. I'm a big fan of this 80s synth keyboard sound. I would say Toto, Blue Monday, kind of some songs like that. People might not think that I'd be into, but I'm really into. I tell you, one of my favourite, like when I just want to like have a jam or I'm playing, I want to find a backing track or something, just like finding like a 80s rock backing track. It's fun. Yeah, I like that stuff. It's different, and also that is something that has been niggling at my creative process for a while, experimenting with some sounds like that, and some with some kind of not so kit drum style drum beats and things like that. But yeah, we'll see. Nice. I would say that's kind of a guilty pleasure. Not very guilty in that.
No, is that something that you're quite excited about, kind of developing your musical taste and letting that just seep into your music, and having I quite like it when artists start with rock music and then they kind of go into 80s music and then they go into this, and it's just like that you don't have to stick to one genre anymore. It feels like you can just do what you want.
I feel like I think I need it. I think I need some fresh sounds, and I'm trying to kind of broaden my auditory palette and kind of get a few some other different sort of sounds and that sort of thing into my head, and I'm doing that, and it's interesting, it's exciting, so much good music out there, and I think it does definitely bleed into what you make and what you sound like, and I want some freshness, I want to keep it interesting. I'm not creating music in any particular genre, that's not what I'm trying to do. I just making it, if I like the sound of it, if it sounds cool to me, then
that's all that matters.
Someone else can tell me what genre it is, I don't care. Yeah,
cool. Do we want to show the people what kind of music that you
if you like.
we were gonna play a song for you.
Play a little song.
Give them the lowdown.
So this is a song that just gets played differently, I think, every time we play it. That's okay. It's kind of got a bit of a basis in there, but we'll see. But we kind of put it together quite a while ago. I kind of wrote some basic ideas about the effect that the rapid advancement of technology and everything is going to have on our kind of society and on people and on the way that we deal with each other and on the way that things run and how they're run and who's running them, so Charity kind of came and we kind of worked on it together, and she kind of turned it into a song and made some music for it, and it's come together quite nicely. I think it's a nice little tune. If anyone really wants the backstory of where the inspiration comes from, you just need to look into why it's called what it's called. So the song's called Freedom Club. So let's should we have a play?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool.
Your
watch the world go by. It's gonna be this way until you die. Wait a minute, sir, I don't accept. I got a feeling I gotta reject. I gotta reject. I gotta reject. Oh, it's burning up, my life is it's burning up, old dreams, no fear. It's burning up, my life is it's burning up, old dreams, no fear. So join the freedom. That was a different ending to what we
Yeah.
normally do.
Was an accident, but okay.
Sounded nice.
Well,
Cool. Thanks for
fun chat.
talking to me.
You're welcome. Anytime. Can't really avoid it.
No. If you like that, please give Jay a little follow. I'm sure you'll see him on my page
Yeah, probably.
every other day for the next 50 years. So yeah, thanks for coming along. I've got one more next week, and then I might take a little break. Who knows? But give Jay a follow. I'll put his music on my story. Thanks for coming along. See you soon.
Thanks for watching. Bye.